Dear students, good morning. Let's start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 26th April 2018. The first article, Changing Structure of Riots. Riot is normally seen as a spontaneous event which is triggered by one or the other tension between two groups. In this scenario, how this riot culture is changing in India? I'm calling it more or less as a culture. Why? And second, what makes communalism so dreadful? So, communalism, now, all of us have different religious beliefs. Believing that our religious belief will not harm others and their belief will not harm us, that helps for coexistence. Whenever we start thinking that existence of our religion is a threat to existence of others, or existence of their religion is a threat to ours, then we are becoming communally divided. When the state gives its support of power to one of the group, then it is communalism. So the state is playing an important role in developing communalism in a particular country. Across the world, if you see, this communalism also takes root of majoritarianism, and in some countries the root of minoritarianism. The minoritarianism takes the root of cessationism. If you talk about Sri Lanka, the linguistic divide is also a communal divide over there, because Sinhalas, they are Buddhists, and then Tamils are Hindus and Christians. So, communalism is a double-edged weapon. It means either way it will not do any good to anyone. The second thing is how the communal character in India is changing, rioting is changing. The first is it is no more spontaneous, it is premeditated. It is getting closely connected to various festivals and also elections. So, new festivals are coming up. If you take in Hyderabad, previously we never had Hanuman Jayanti, Ram Navami processions. Now, processions by and large have become common over here. And second, one religious group is taking up the processions. Competitive processions are also being taken up by other religious group. If there are elections in a particular year, these processions are bound to increase. And then, the worst part is the communalism is getting closely connected with nationalism now. And the majoritarian communalism is taking the shape of nationalism, which always Nehru has feared. And in this scenario, the victim is not being assisted by the police, and the parties which are in power, which are stating themselves to be secular, they are also worried about losing the vote bank by opposing or by taking against the majoritarian communities. So, in this situation, the secularism is under threat, and there is no stopping to the communalism in the country. And this communal divide shall not reduce India into ashes. That's what this author is trying to say about. The next article, a dangerous polarization in Jammu. It is also growing communalism in Jammu. In the context of the recent Kathua rape incident, you can clearly see that polarization of the communities. So, more than a child losing life to the cruel elements of the society, we saw it as a religious divide between the communities. That's the worst part of it. Why is this happening? If you see Jammu, it is the only peaceful region in Jammu and Kashmir now. So previously, Kashmir, Srinagar, it was the center for education and also employment. As terrorism left these particular opportunities over there, people are migrating to Jammu. So that's why Jammu, once an Hindu predominated town, has now become a multicultural town. And then the politics have played their hue and cry. And there is also a historical factor, that is, the Kashmir has got the due attention of the union government, more allocation of the resources over a period of time, and Kashmir is seen as Muslim dominated land and Jammu as a Hindu dominated land. From early days, the repeal of 370, Article 370, that provides for special status to Kashmir, was the demand of the people from Jammu. So, changing demography, competition for the opportunities available in Jammu for outsiders, And the third is historical divide that was existing between Jammu and Kashmir region. These are the stated for the reasons for the polarization over here. The global nuclear cloud is darkening. This article is about growing tensions between the nuclear powers. It appears that a Cold War is returning between US and Russia. In Syria, you can clearly see this as. From the days of Obama itself, US has started their nuclear weapon modernization program, and Russia is also taking the same forward. And both of them are developing cruise missiles that can take the nuclear weapons without being detected by radars. Obviously, these are going to decrease the deterrence effect. And US is trying to develop anti-ballistic missile shield to protect itself from the nuclear missiles of Russia. Obviously, that is also going to change the existing situation that is mutually assured destruction mad. And the second thing over here is Iran nuclear deal. So, though Iran is following all the conditionalities imposed on it, but Trump wants it to be revised. So, Iran has clearly stated that, Iran President Mr. Rouhani stated that it is not going to settle for anything less if the treaty has to be negotiated. And in this scenario, if the treaty fails, Iran is expected to go nuclear. The third is about North Korea. Though it is talking about denuclearization, we are not clear what this term and its scope mean. So we can only get the clarity when these consultations are over between the countries. So it clearly shows that the nuclear clouds are coming together. What the India's role has to be, India has to play its responsible role in containing this particular growing tensions across the countries. That's what the author talks about. Cautionary notes for Wuhan. This article is about upcoming summit between President Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The summit is without a preset agenda, and there will be no officers assisting them. It will be a direct talk between two leaders. And why is it being undertaken now? Understand few things over here. This summit is meant to diffuse the situation between these two countries, and both the countries want to have an early settlement to their border problem. Along with that, a goodwill has to exist between the leaders to diffuse the tension as and when they arise. So here, certain care or certain caution is necessary. That's what this article states. These summits are successful when they are not being held under excessive media glare. And second is, the conversation need to be as broad as possible rather than keeping specific to the points. The third is, if the conversation involves bilateral issues, the outcomes will be better. If they spill over into multilateral issues such as nuclear suppliers group, which India is talking about, or Shanghai Cooperation Organization, CPEC, if it goes beyond that, then probably the summit outcomes may not be as expected. These are the three things which this author is talking about. And then revisit Armed Forces Special Powers Act. So then, what is an Armed Forces Special Powers Act? That is, any disturbed area exists, then the civilian officers, authorities can ask for the assistance of the military authorities under Armed Forces Special Powers Act. There is Section 3 of Armed Forces Special Powers Act, under which central government or governor, they can declare an area as a disturbed area. Normally it will be done by the Ministry of Home Affairs. And when it is imposed, the armed forces, they get unlimited powers. They can search without warrant. And if necessary, they can open fire. And also, they can arrest a person without a warrant. So, many of the people criticize this as a reason for alienation of the people of Northeast India from Indian Union. There is abuse of human rights. That's the reason why the Supreme Court has stated that the excesses conducted by the armed forces under the Armed Forces Special Powers Act is also prosecutionable. There is no blanket immunity for the armed forces. That's what Supreme Court has clearly stated. Justice Jeevan Reddy Committee, what it stated, the Armed Forces Special Powers Act has to be repealed, and it has to be replaced. Unlawful activities Prevention Act. So now, government, rather than repealing this particular law, it is trying to lift the law where it is being imposed. Recently, it revoked the law in Meghalaya, and it is a welcome move. That's what we can state it as. Tech blind spot. Always remember this way. Technological giants are more concerned about their profits rather than about the concerns or social tensions they are creating. If you see the Facebook, if you see the Google, so the projects they are involved, it is about capturing more power by taking away the personal data of the citizens from them. In this context, Google is involved as a partner in one of the Pentagon program, that is Project Maven. So obviously, when Google-like companies which are been spread across the world are involved with military projects, then it is going to be a security threat for the other countries. And second thing is, if you talk about Uber, so there is always a tension between individual taxi drivers and the Uber. Uber wants to bypass taxi companies, make a direct agreement with the taxi drivers, and it's finally making the drivers to depend upon the Uber itself to earn their money. Because of this monopolization, and the drivers are losing their bargaining power, and the taxi companies are getting closer down. So the tech companies, tech giants, are building by creating the social tensions. So that's why a social purpose also need to be created for these companies. That's how this article talks about. And then uniting the Koreas. You know that the Kim Jong-un and also Moon, both of them are going to meet for a summit. And till now, the Korean War did not end. So just there is an armistice. Probably they may conclude it with a peace deal. They can close formally the war with a peace deal. And second, Kim is talking about denuclearization. We may get some clarity after this particular meeting. So what we can expect from this, one is peace process, denuclearization, a reunion of the members, family members who are divided between these two countries. These three things that we can expect the talks to happen. Resume DACA, says US court. You know what DACA stands for? It is deferred action for childhood arrivals. For example, a family is an illegal immigrant and the children of that family have entered in the United States of America, or they are born in the United States of America. How they shall be treated? So in this context, Obama administration, it has started this DACA program based on the premise that people brought to the US as children should be treated as low priorities for deportation. So the Trump wants to reverse this. So the Supreme Court, it has ordered the government to resume this DACA, deferred action for childhood arrivals. Ministry clears Indu Malhotra as Supreme Court judge. She is the first woman judge to be appointed from the bar and as the Supreme Court judge. That is the point we need to remember. And then rupee slides, oil said spurs dollar demand. As the oil prices are increasing, the demand for dollar is also increasing. As the demand for dollar is increasing, the rupee is seeing depreciation. You need to understand what the depreciation, etc. over here. Finally, I gave you the notes that will be available to you at lax.in/CivilsPrep. Thank you very much. All the best.